there. For reaction this morning, let's bring in Congressman Mark Alford from the great state of Missouri. Good morning, Congressman. Congressman Alford, when you heard about Joe Biden adding more presidential pardons or these so-called preemptive pardons, I'm just learning about this. What did you think?
Well, look, Allison, good to see you. This is not what our founding fathers had in mind. Clemency or pardon should equal mercy. And to weaponize this clemency, it's not what our founding fathers had in mind. And so I think it would be a grave mistake for the President of the United States to give blanket pardons, preemptive pardons to anyone who have committed any crime up until a certain point. I just think it's ridiculous, but that's how this president has been operating, a lack of leadership, a lack of will for the true democracy of the United States of America, the true republic as we understand it.
Congressman, I also want to get your take on Lara Trump. She, of course, is stepping down, or has now stepped down, as co-chair of the RNC. She could be potentially appointed to replace former Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Do you think this is all going to happen? Do you have any inside baseball for us, any knowledge on the talks that are happening behind the scenes?
Well, I don't have any direct connection to Mar-a-Lago or the transition team, but I do know this. This is going to be up to Governor DeSantis, of course, to pick a replacement for Marco Rubio, who's moving to state. Lara Trump has what it takes. She proved herself in the some 9 to 10 months as co-chair with Mr. Whatley as the RNC, did a fantastic job. She is going to bring energy and youth to the U.S. Senate to complement our two U.S. Senators from Missouri, Josh Hawley and Eric Schmidt. I think she would be fantastic and a great link to the president to get things done in the Senate. So while we're doing things in the House, we can work hand in hand.
No doubt about that. Meanwhile, Congressman, there's a startling headline from the Washington Free Beacon. It says this. It says, in a war against China, the U.S. runs out of missiles in a matter of weeks, according to a House committee. So we're talking about the House Select Committee on China. I want to get your reaction to this. I mean, you've been very vocal about China and specifically in your own backyard as it relates to manufacturing companies owned by the Chinese to say, "Gay, get out of Dodge, not here."
Yeah, listen, David, this is scary stuff because I'm on the Armed Services Committee. I'm in these SCIFs, and even unclassified information shows just how far we are behind the Chinese when it comes to armaments. Pretty much everything but sea power when you're talking about under the sea. I want to show you a chart. I'm going to hold this up really quickly. I have this hanging in my office because it's so important. This is the pacing threat, a modernization for this year. On your right in red is the Chinese armaments that they have built, or we think they have built, and on the left is blue. If you look at the very bottom, you will see the missiles that Communist China has right now compared to the missiles that we have on the left. Now, if this is not enough to scare you into some action, it is for us on the National Defense Authorization Act. We will be voting on this week. It is imperative that we rebuild our military in armaments and in personnel. And that's what Pete Hegseth, the nominee for SecDef, has in mind as well. We have got to strengthen our military so we can be ready just in case we have to go to war, or even more so to act as a deterrent to Communist China. Peace through strength.
Well, thank you for opening the door. Now to the uncomfortable question. You talked about funding our defense. I'm looking here at my phone. It is December 10th. December 20th is the deadline to fund our government. What's happening behind the scenes? There hasn't been a whole lot of talk, hopefully more action than talk. What's going on?
Well, we're about to have our conference meeting in just a few minutes, and we'll be going over this with the leader, the speaker, and the whip. Exactly the plan of action. We expect to vote on the National Defense Authorization Act this week, possibly tomorrow. In that is about $900 billion. Still not enough. It does provide a pay raise for our military lower enlisted of about 14.5%, increases housing allowance, increases child care, things we need to do to help retention and recruitment. Then when we come back next week, we're expecting to vote on a continuing resolution. We talked about this before. I hate CRs, but this is going to give a little bit of padding for President Trump as he gets into office. This is going to probably extend to late March. We will be living under the current numbers of the budget right now, but we're not going to have to shut down the government, and we will be able to operate effectively until President Trump determines his budget, and then we're able to get on track with that.
So another CR is on the way.
Merry Christmas.
Bah humbug.
Right.
Thank you so much,
Is
Mark
that coal in my
Alford.
stocking?
I think so. Thanks so
Take
much
care.
for joining us today. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Congressman.
Merry Christmas.